All right, for question 4, let's take a peek at this one. It says, which fractions are greater than 1/3? And then you need to select all the correct answers. So I think the best way to represent this would be using number lines. So let's look at the very first one. So we need to figure out what 1/3 is on a number line. So always remember, these are all the same wholes. So we're taking the same amount and splitting them into different parts. So the first one we're going to compare everything to is 1/3. So I drew out the number line right here. You're starting with 0 and you're ending with 1, or 3/3, which 3/3 equals 1. And I divided my number line into 3 different parts. So we have our first part is 1/3. The second part is 2/3, and clearly the 3/3 is the 1. So I am going to find and mark on my number line 1/3, because this is what they want to know. They want to know which fractions are larger or greater than 1/3. So let's take a peek. We've got to split this second one up. So this one here, there are going to be 4 parts on this number line. So if we start with our 0, and we know it ends with a 1, or 4/4, we need to break this into 4 different parts. So let's do, and they have to be even. We're going to try to get them as even as we can. So here is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. So here's 1/4, 2/4, which equals a half, 3/4, and 4/4. So we're going to mark 2/4, or in this case, half, because this is halfway. All right, let's try and find our next one. Let's try to find 2/8. So this number line is being broken into 8 parts. So let's start from our 0 and our 8/8, which equals 1. Well, we know half of 8 is 4. So I'm going to split this in half right here, and I'm going to label this one 4/8, because I know 4/8 is equivalent to 1/2. It's half of that number line. It's half of 8, those 8 parts. So, and I can do that again too if I wanted to with the 4/8. What's half of 4? Well, it's 2. And so this would be 2/8. So now it's going to be a little easier to break this down. So 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. So we can go up here and say, well, this is going to be 6/8, 5/8, 7/8, and 8/8. So we broke this number line into parts of 8, because that's what this denominator is telling me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they want us to mark 2/8. So you're going to start to see now, think about what they want us to compare it to. Everything needs to be compared to this 1/3. So here's 1/3 right there. And if I were to draw this imaginary line right down, I'll keep on going all the way down, we can already see that one of these fractions is greater than 1/3, and one is less than. Let's mark where 3/5 is. So this number line is going to be broken into how many parts? Everybody say 5. You're right. 5 parts. Here's our 0. Here is 5/5, or 1, because this is our 1 whole. And now we got to break it into 5 equal parts. So this is going to be 1. I'm going to try to kind of eyeball it. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here is your 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and your 5/5. All right. So now we need to mark 3/5. So here is that 3/5 right there. Okay, think about where our 1/3 is. Okay, let's go to 3/10. I'm running out of color, so I'm going to reuse. Oh, we'll go to purple. We'll reuse purple. So this one here, my goodness, we have to break this one into 10 parts. So these parts are going to be smaller. But right now, so I'm going to start with our 0, and I'm going to put our 10/10 This purple's not the best. 10 over 10. I know that 5 is half of 10. So I know that halfway point is going to be 5/10. 5 is half. So half of 10. And so now I need to break this into 10 equal parts. So here we go. I'm going to try to go 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10. So I'm going to label these 1, 2, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and your 10/10. So what part are we talking about with the tenths? We're talking about 3/10. So I'm going to come over to my number line and I'm going to mark 3/10. All right. And our last one. Let's look at this last one. It's asking us to break our whole into 6 parts. Okay, so let's do that. Well, I know half of 6 is 3, so I'm just going to split this right in half. I'm going to have my 0 and my 6 over 6, which equals 1. And I'm going to split that in half and say, okay, so this is 2/6. Oh, I'm sorry, 3/6. Sorry. 3/6. I was looking at that 4. So half of 6 is that 3. So I know that 3/6 is halfway. So now I've got to break this into 2 sections. So 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6. So 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 6/6. So our whole now is broken into 6. Look at all these different wholes. It's so funny how you can break the same whole into different amounts. Okay, that's what your fractions are telling you. So this one here now is broken into 6, and now we're going to shade 4 parts of that in. So we're going to come right over here to the 4/6 fraction. All right, your job right now is to figure out, and let me read the question again. It says select all the correct answers. And you're selecting the fractions that are greater than 1/3. So remember, going back up to our 1/3, if you look down, you should be able to figure out which ones are greater. All right, we'll see you on the next question.